Family Skeptical, Parenting Through Nonbelief.
We're a married atheist couple raising two wonderful, strange children. We ask big questions, dissect weird parenting moments, and examine how society ignores or misrepresents families like ours. If you're any stripe of nonbeliever who's involved in raising children, welcome. You are our people.
Our kids have heard all our swears, but yours might not have, so be thoughtful if there are young people listening with you.
So, moms,
Uh-huh.
go and look up Alex Jones' mustache.
Okay.
Bear in mind, this is not AI.
You've checked?
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Give me images. What?
This is the level of behavior that now is escaping self-parody. They're going beyond self-parody into like truly bizarre antisocial behavior. Now, arguably, they've been doing this for a while. But
yeah. I mean, he got sued out of his company for a very specific reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but so for people who have not seen this,
oh my God,
Alex Jones is now sporting a Hitler mustache.
He's doing this to quote unquote own the libs.
Is this like ex post real? I am officially joining the Democratic Party as of today.
That's him being sarcastic.
Oh, I understand, but it's really him.
Oh yeah, this is him talking about his mustache, his Hitler mustache.
In celebration of their wonderful work, I have now adopted a hairstyle that matches their policies. To quote Go, what now? I mean...
Wait, what now? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're up against, ladies and germs. Anyway.
Yeah. It's also just not a good look for him.
I don't think at this point in history it's a good look for anybody.
Yeah,
and you might just want to stay away from it.
You know, I don't know, there's something very funny going on with the shape of his head and that style.
Okay.
I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like...
Does it make it look like you're looking at a pumpkin from the top down? Like his mustache is this stupid stem and his big pumpkin head is a pumpkin? Yes, because like
his top lip is much wider, like taller. Sorry, not wider, taller than I feel like you typically see the Hitler mustache. So yes, exactly like that. Like maybe it's the stem for the lower half of his face.
Maybe.
Anyways. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Well, he's continuing to make good life decisions.
Yeah.
There is some good news in the news, though.
There's always good news. You don't have to doom and gloom everything. So what's up?
That's true. But somebody we've talked about before appears to be leaving their job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I'm not surprised that the Christian weirdos in Oklahoma kept him around even after he was found, like, fapping during meetings.
Well, that is weird. So we are talking about Ryan Walters, and we spoke about him back in our episode, Battle of the O States. Mm-hmm. So he was the school superintendent in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And desperately wanted Trump to love him. I mean, I think that's the biggest message from his term. He wanted to get Bibles for was it every classroom?
He wanted Trump Bibles in every school. He was a big proponent of the Ten Commandment thing.
Yeah, so he wanted to buy Bibles, but he wrote the rule about which Bible you could buy in a way that only allowed Trump Bibles to satisfy it, which is wild because, like, nobody should be putting Bibles in classrooms. But, like, if you did, you could get Bibles for free.
Also, please don't use the word Trump and then the phrase satisfy it in the same sentence ever again.
Okay. But, like, if you wanted to enact that terrible policy, I feel certain that you would not have to spend a penny to do so. Like, if you put that message out, I think you could get people to provide Bibles.
I think it would be really great
for every
if they
classroom.
just put every classroom gets an NRSV, up to date, revised, with like linguistic notes all over the place. NRSV. And then every kid is forced to read it from beginning to end with zero commentary, zero discussion. Every day, the kids get half an hour to read the NRSV, and they get to see, the wonderful moments in Kings where the boys are mauled by the she-bears because they mock a guy's bald head, or what happens to David's wives, like, apropos of nothing, God says, yeah, your wives are going to get raped if you do a thing, and then they get raped. I mean, like, I think that there should be that. I think you should call them on it and say, sure, we're definitely going to do it. There's going to be zero instruction, and we will mandate that Bibles are in every classroom. Here are the stipulations.
It would be interesting.
The kids just read it. They can ask questions. The teachers give no answers. The kids are just left to fend for themselves, to make up their own minds. If it's a perfect book, they should have no problem.
This is true. It is so hard to read. It would just be torture.
It's like you get to the genealogies and it's mind-numbing, and you get to some of the horrific shit, and it's just horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like blood-curdlingly so. And I don't know.
Well, also, like in every classroom, like you're going to set first graders.
Call their bluff. Yes, we're going to talk about like emissions like those of donkeys or whatever. And they're going to be like, what's an emission? And the teacher's going to be like, we can't talk about that because our sex ed curriculum doesn't allow it. Like, I just say call their bluff completely. Give everybody a Bible, make them read it, and then see what happens. See how many kids who were never exposed to those verses start to doubt because they look at those verses for the first time without like the armor of other adults in their social religious circle protecting them by giving them some sort of like interpretation, because there has to be an interpretation. You can't just read it on the text alone, even though it's a perfect book inspired by, God himself.
Yeah.
It seems like a great opportunity to just like do exactly what they ask and then take that extra step and then back all the way off and let nature take its course.
Or better, just like actually respect the separation of church and state. But I agree.
That's way too easy.
Yeah. But so
we have to do the hard thing.
He wanted to do it in a way to funnel money towards Trump. I have never seen anything to suggest that Trump cares about him, knows who he is.
Trump doesn't care about anybody.
No, I know, but I just think it makes me happy that all of his like pick me energy, I don't think got him anywhere. And then it
wasn't pick me energy, it was spank me energy. That dude is an absolute bottom. It's so ridiculous. Sorry. I really dislike Ryan Walters. I hope he has zero career after this.
But there's nothing wrong with being a bottom. I just feel like it would make him uncomfortable.
No, for him. No, he really, that's absolutely true. For starters, nothing wrong with being a bottom. If you're a bottom, be the best bottom you can be. But for Ryan Walters, I say it to him because he would find it distasteful, probably. At least openly distasteful, socially distasteful. But he might actually be a bottom and isn't willing to admit it.
Also,
please, Daddy Trump.
And then the worst thing was he wanted a new social studies curriculum that would basically just lie to students. Mm-hmm. So he wanted a social studies curriculum that would say that there were issues with the election of Biden. He wanted a social studies curriculum that would take out stuff about slavery. I mean, it was just
they would stop. They wouldn't teach Juneteenth, even though Tulsa is a city in Oklahoma.
I mean, just like every terrible conservative lie you can imagine he wanted actually taught, that was incredibly hard because I believe textbook publishers were like, no,
Yeah.
no, won't do that. Anyways, and then it was also reported that he accidentally played porn during a meeting with the school board. Anyways,
No, it wasn't like noisy. It was just like he was looking at porn, just like pictures or volume down on his computer during the school board meeting.
It is unclear because it actually was found to be an old Jackie Chan movie with like sexual scenes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean,
if that's true, then I mean, great. But okay, so bare minimum, this guy did not take his job seriously.
Yes.
Bare minimum.
And the good news is that he has resigned. Now, my fear is he's going to get paid a lot of money to go and do his stupid shit at like a conservative think tank.
Sure. But here's the thing. What he's calling for isn't anything new. He has this is basically a Ken doll. Like, he doesn't have new ideas. He's just parroting and regurgitating and being a mouthpiece. And so he can go like do whatever he wants at whatever think tank. This guy is a sack of hammers.
But at least he won't be terrorizing Oklahoma schools anymore.
Yes.
And I
won't somebody please think of the children?
Yeah. So I think that's really good.
Yeah. See, good news.
So I have something I want to talk about with you. I sent you a post from Instagram.
Oh, you mean that the hairstylist? Nothing against hairstylists, but the hairstylist coming in hot and heavy with the weird ass take on making your kid not weird so they don't get bullied.
Yes. Okay. So this is actually a post by a guy who goes by Professor Neil.
Yes.
On Instagram. He is buddies with another Instagram creator that we have talked about, who goes by the Speech Prof. And both of them, most of their videos are kind of breaking down toxic masculinity online and talking about how bad it is. This is not exactly that. This is him critiquing, as you say, a hairstylist. We'll link to his post.
Again, nothing against hairstylists.
Oh, no.
If you need your hair styled, go to the hairstylist.
I mean, some of the coolest people I've met have spent time in their lives as hairstylists.
Sure.
But this woman came on Instagram to say, basically, like, you should stop your kids from being weird because if you don't, they will be bullied and it will hurt their self-esteem. So stop your kids from being weird. And do you want to sum up Professor Neil's critique of that?
Yes, the quote-unquote stopping your kids from being weird is bullying.
Yeah.
So you basically are a joke of a human if you proclaim to not want your kids to get bullied and then you bully them into not being themselves so that they don't get bullied by other people. Instead of just like telling your kid that who they are is acceptable, that their weirdness can be a superpower. Sometimes their weirdness can be monetized and become a career. Like, not like that needs to be the end of all things, but if you do have, if you're a quirky kid and you have a certain skill set that nobody else has, you might get bullied for it now. But if you cultivate it and get support, that quirkiness might end up being the thing that sets you apart and creates a social circle that you find great value in. And also, online, we've talked about this. In the 80s, being a weirdo and an outcast was a lot harder because you didn't have the support of other weirdos and outcasts all over the world coming to your defense and being like, we got you, fam. You're not the only person who thinks this, who does this, who feels this way. You are not alone. This advice from this hairstylist lady is coming at a time when a kid who is weird might just be better saying, yeah, sure, mom, and then going online to the people that actually care for them and then finding support there and continuing to be weird, even if it means that they get ostracized locally, socially, because after all, if they are themselves and they get ostracized for being themselves, are the people doing the ostracizing really worth keeping around anyway?
Well, I want to bring it back for a second.
Sure, fine. I got ahead of myself. Sorry, I feel very passionately about this.
I am very interested in this word weird.
Sure.
And I am on record saying that I chose our current place of residence because we looked someplace else. And I was like,
it
oh
wasn't
my God,
weird enough.
It wasn't weird enough. Where are the weirdos? I feel very uncomfortable that there are no weirdos. And we found a town not lacking in weirdos. And I feel very good about that.
Yesterday, the thing.
We went to, well, I want to talk about this. I thought yesterday we went to this, it's like kind of like a big hippie art fest that had a lot of amazingness and a lot of weirdness. It was cool and weird. But I think it's interesting because Dear Old Dads also did an episode on this post, which created a lot of conversation on the Dear Old Dad community because Tom Curry came in with the, sort of the strongest take. And what he took this woman's post to mean, like, if your kid is rude in public, if your kid doesn't have proper hygiene, you are doing them a disservice to not teach them, like, how to be a person in the world.
Arguably.
And
yeah, sure.
And I think a lot of the commentary was like, that's not how I read the term weird.
That is not how I read the term weird either.
So, I am just super curious.
This is kind of why it's important when you're talking about things that matter to you, that you define terms. And it doesn't take long to define terms. And you should, if you have a big opinion about something, you should have a very clear sense of what those terms mean to you. Then you can discuss terms. You can agree on terms if it's some sort of debate or whatever. But yeah, but also the way she was being really judgy about it gave me a sense of what weird might be. And there's all sorts of like negative connotations. I would like to be charitable toward this lady, but I don't know if I can be.
Well, I have a hot take on the hairdresser thing, but let me first, I was not expecting the first Oxford Dictionary definition of weird, which is suggesting something supernatural, uncanny.
Like Weird Tales, the old pulp fiction series. Yeah.
But the second definition, very strange, bizarre, is kind of where I land.
Yes, I would say most people. The first definition is like eldritch. This is like back when H.P. Lovecraft was still writing stuff.
Yeah.
It's a holdover.
But so, and then, I think for me, like in my previous comment, where are the weirdos? I typically use the word weird in a positive connotation.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go all the way back, because if you remember, during the last election, I think it was even before he was picked as running mate, but Tim Walz came out calling the Republican Party weird.
Yeah.
And I had like a little bit of a struggle with that because it's a word I like. Like I said, I usually use it in a positive connotation. But when I thought about it, I was like, the truth is, strange, bizarre can be both good and bad. Those are two words that to me are like, it just means if I was going to try to dig down, it's like unexpected, not what you see every day. And I think you can certainly argue that the Republican Party has gotten very strange. And in a way, I get, I think what was kind of fun about that takedown is that the Republican Party loves to present itself like average America. We are your average American. We are speaking to they would be like, we're not the weirdos on the West Coast and the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
We're like heartland America. We're the normal ones. And so in that context, I understand why weird was sort of an appropriate response and why, and I like that we had the discussion about calling Ryan Walters a bottom. Nothing wrong with being a bottom. I think you use that insult because it would piss him off, right?
Oh,
and so
100%. He would reject that instead of just owning it. Just like he really wants a certain thing from a certain person and he's desperate to get it. And I don't know, like he wants to be on the receiving end of Trump's good graces, however you want to characterize that. Is fine by me.
And so in that context, I was like, okay, this works as a takedown because it's the last way they would perceive themselves, even though it's very true that they have gotten real strange. So, but even back then I was thinking about it because like weird, I usually use positively, if not positively, sort of just neutrally. And weirdo to me is almost always like a positive. So I think what I had so much trouble with what Tom suggested is I think like when you see kids who are rude, I never think to myself, oh, that's weird. Right? Like we know kids can be rude. I think like you can have thoughts about that, but you're not like, oh, surprising. I've never seen that before. What is that? How weird, how strange. Like those are antisocial behaviors. And those to me fall into a different category. Now, I was thinking about the hygiene thing. And I think sometimes that can overlap, but to me, it's usually like an offshoot of something else, right?
And
so
some kids have a hard time with hygiene. Like it is. I think there just needs to be some more like just general empathy. And I know that I said that after like trying to dig a hole and push Ryan Walters into it psychically. But I think that like with the kid who is quote unquote weird, if it includes like a lack of hygiene or if they're learning how to be social or if they have some sort of anxiety disorder or something happening upstairs that makes it difficult for them to always be on their best behavior in public, that we just give them the benefit of the doubt because they're a kid and it is not on them to act like the adult that we hope that they grow up into,
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky to have some amazing Spanish teachers when I was in middle school and high school.
Good.
And my middle school Spanish teacher, who I will love always because she had us each do a project. Yeah. And for that project, I read some like Spanish surrealist authors and what a great experience.
Yeah. And why is it that the Spanish like both continental and South American were like so good at magical realism? Like what is it? What is it? Like what it's a thing.
Yeah. It totally. I would love to know. That is a fascinating question.
There's probably some college course out there totally about that.
Yeah. I'm sure. But it's truly, I wanted to take Spanish to be good enough to read 100 Years of Solitude in the original
language.
And I did not get there. Let's just say I did not get there, never reached that goal. But she told a story about she was in a very big family.
Okay.
And by the time she became a teenager, like her parents were tapped out. So just nobody told her about using deodorant. And it took a teacher just sort of like taking her aside at one point and being really gentle and kind for her to find out about it.
Okay.
And then in the comments on Dear Old Dads, there was a great post where somebody was like, different cultures smell different. Like if you're at home eating different kind of foods than the people around you, you are going to have a different smell. And that's not bad, right? But that
No.
could be unusual or weird. Like if you lived in a different place, it would be perfectly normal. But if you're around people eating like hamburger meat and potatoes and you come in smelling like curry, like there could be certain people who are like, ooh, that's a weird smell. That's a bad smell. You smell bad.
Sure.
And but that's not a bad smell. It's just a different smell than those people are used to. So I think Tom said in his response, like, we're going to take like the autistic neurodivergent kids out of it. That's a different topic. But like you said, I don't think you can. Because when you're talking about like what we're okay accepting, I don't think neurodivergent kids are going to get the respect they deserve if you have a community that can't accept kids who are just weird in their own right.
Okay.
Like I don't think you're going to get one without the other.
So like the neurotypical kids who are like totally obsessed with like Pokemon Go and dress up as Pokemon just randomly, like they're sort of like the gateway.
Yeah, I think it all goes together. Like I think I don't see a scenario in which people are like, "Oh, I am totally fine with you doing things that seem strange and weird to me, because I understand that you have no choice. But I am going to judge and demean this person who does things that are strange and weird to me because they are doing it by choice." Like, I don't think that community exists. You can say they're different, but I think the people who are going to be judging of one are the same people who are going to be judging of the other. And if you want the acceptance, like you have to lift it all up together.
Sure.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that there needs to just be like the optics of being weird, like I think are always going to be fundamentally skewed. Just because what is weird changes over time with the rest of culture. And so there's always going to be like a Venn diagram that excludes, you know, people are tribal, kids are horrible, hormones rage. So there are a lot of opportunities for kids just to be horrible to some out group that they curate. And you can end up in that out group just by being nice to people who are weird, just by like not being a dick. You can end up in that out group. And then you become the weirdo who likes the weirdos, because that makes you a weirdo.
Yeah. Also, let me just say...
Please. Yeah, please.
You don't always know who is neurodivergent.
No.
Like, I think social media loves to be like, oh, you can look and tell. Look, this person's OCD. Look, this person, is on the spectrum. And like, if you're not a doctor, and if that person hasn't told you, you don't know. So I think if you want acceptance for some, you gotta give it to everybody. But and I think it's changed too. Like, I think what's considered weird has shifted. And I would say not just what is considered weird, but I think the treatment of weird is shifting with younger kids
who are growing up with more and more internet access. I don't want to say correlation causation, right? But they have a lot of internet access. They have access to communities, and also they have access to examples of people doing a thing that they might be doing and not like being burned at the stake for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, no, just a thought.
But I said I had a hot take on the video.
Sure.
She's a hairstylist. She looks a bit older.
Yes. I
wonder how much of her comments are about young people coming in asking for hairstyles that she feels are weird.
Maybe.
Which to me is like the best kind of weird. The easiest to accept. I mean, so that makes me even more judgy about it. But I wanted to get back to what you were talking about and how weirdness can be like a superpower.
Sure.
Because I think about this a lot, because I love the author Jenny Lawson. She wrote Let's Pretend This Never Happened, a ton of New York Times bestsellers. She is cultivated weird to the power of 10, very neurodivergent, looks at the world in just a very different way, collects antique, strange taxidermy.
That's pretty cool.
You know, just like whatever. And that, you know, and I was just like thinking about it because I was like, you know, she's talked a ton about her social anxiety and having panic attacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Jenny Lawson could go and do a book reading, have a panic attack, do the book reading from under the table at the bookstore. I'm not saying she's ever done this, right? I'm just like, could do the book reading from under the table with like the tablecloth over it so no one can see her, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then do the book signing with like some crazy antique, like half taxidermy mask so nobody could see her, right?
Okay.
And her fans would walk away from that book signing being like, oh, that was the best book signing ever.
Yep.
Because it's so her, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes I've wished that I was a little bit stranger because like, I feel like what I've run across a lot is that like, I am very good at coming across as just like very normal and grounded. But I can be awkward and strange. But I feel like, I mean, like with you, I can be whatever all the time. But like with, you know, like in more like social situations, I feel like I will just fall into it in like tiny bursts. And I feel like that is hard for people because like they don't know it's coming. So sometimes I feel like it's easier to be like all of one or the other because I feel like I take people off guard and that actually goes badly. When I'm like, oh no, I can actually be incredibly socially awkward. You didn't know that. I'm sorry. This is probably very upsetting. Like, I don't know. Do you think you were perceived as strange at any point?
Do I think I was perceived as strange at any point? Yes, I do.
Like at all points or like at certain
Pretty much.
points? Okay. Mainly due to neurodivergence or?
I don't know. I had no idea I was neurodivergent.
Yeah. But I mean, looking back, like in retrospect.
I'd say, yeah, maybe like my reluctance to be as social as everybody else in some circumstances probably was looked at as strange.
But I mean, I think it...
But that wasn't the only reason, so.
Yeah. Because in the Dear Old Dads episode, Tom brought up a colleague's daughter, and she was like very tattooed and had piercings. And her mom was sort of asking, like, should I talk to her about this? Like, would you hire her? And Tom was like, oh, no, I wouldn't hire her. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is so interesting. Because, like, if she is very competent, then you are not hiring her because you assume that your clients will not like her aesthetic. Right?
Sure.
Like, that is kind of what you're saying. Because I was like, yeah, I mean, I have definitely told the kids, don't get a tattoo until you know that it's something that's going to be meaningful for you long term. Like, that's my best advice. That it's better to wait and do something that, like, you're going to like for the rest of your life. I mean, if they get a stupid tattoo when they're young, whatever. But I've also told them not to get neck tattoos because...
Yes.
Just don't get neck tattoos. There are probably some cool neck tattoos. It's hard. But I was trying to think what I would tell them. I think it would have to be a conversation about what career they're interested in. Because there are probably still some that would have prejudices against certain aesthetics. But I think the number is dwindling, depending on how intense what you do is.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, I mean, I think, you know, like, let's say you have like a full sleeve, right?
Yeah.
And maybe, I think tattoos are getting so accepted. Like if you have a full sleeve and you're wearing like a nice business suit and you have your cuffs rolled up, ad agency for the right type of brands, I think that would be like no issue. It could be a selling point.
Sure.
Certainly in more creative fields, chefs are notoriously tattooed.
Yep.
I think, depending on what kind of tattoo it is, certain teaching roles.
Sure.
So I think it's weird to put out there we go, weird. I think it's interesting to put out a blanket statement about employability or appropriateness without knowing what this young person is thinking about.
Sure.
Because if you want to be like an engineer for, I don't know the industries well enough, but like if you want to be an engineer for oil companies, which is kind of like a traditional male-dominated field, like would some like old male white owners of oil companies like not want to see a young woman with tons of tattoos and piercings? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think you'd have to look at it, but I think it's hard to say with any of this stuff. It really depends, like, kind of what you're going for and what you want. But yeah, I will say, like, the people I know who have been the most successful, granted, again, a lot of them are in more creative industries, but the people I know who have been the most successful are definitely weird. I know we're going long on this, but I have another question for you.
Sure.
Because I was thinking about it with the event we went to, which definitely had a hippie vibe.
Yes.
Do you think there are certain genres that are actually no longer weird because they are so codified in how to do them?
I don't understand what that means.
Well, like, hippies were weird in the 60s.
Right.
When nobody was doing that yet.
Yeah,
like, it was a new thing.
What they were doing and how they were doing it was an act of defiance against the previous two generations.
Yeah.
And what they stood for, what they felt they stood for. So like that version of weird is different because it was actively trying to subvert. Whereas like a lot of weird is just like, I'm just doing this thing that I like, please don't like lynch me for it.
But like now, like if you say somebody is a hippie, there's like a certain amount of stuff you know about them. Like, would you even, because I don't think I would look at a hippie and be like, oh, that's weird. I'd just be like, oh, that's a hippie.
Mm-hmm. Probably a trust fund kid.
Yeah, but
they can afford to smoke weed every day and like get all the latest tie-dye from wherever.
Just like, I don't know about punks. Like, I feel like, when like punks were coming up really big in the UK, like when it started, it was like totally weird. Now, if I saw a punk, I don't know if I'd be like, oh, weird. I'd be like, oh, that's just a goth. Or like, that's a punk.
Yeah, it's a style choice.
It's a style choice, right? Mm-hmm. So like...
it took 40 years to get there.
Yeah, but I think we're there with some of these things.
Yeah, of course we are. Well, when you give it long enough.
Yeah.
Which I guess is your point. You give anything long enough and it ceases to be weird. It just becomes a style choice.
Yeah. I think like when because it's like, it makes me think about our episode on masculinity, where it's like, to truly, I think like the hard thing about some of those topics like masculinity is that I think we all know that to truly be cool, like if you are like cooler than other people, it's because you are unique. And it is actually hard to be unique. There aren't that many people who are genuinely unique and doing something different than other people. And so at some level, it means there are a lot of people who are just looking for messages about how to be. And so then it's like, because I feel like sometimes when we talk about masculinity, it's like, well, just be totally creative and cool. And it's like, well, that's not actually an easy thing to do, right? So then it's kind of like piecing together who you want to be from the different inputs you have. And so I do feel like if you have a kid who is like genuinely a totally unique individual, that should really be like, that is amazing. And you can let them know about ways that that could put them in not great situations so that they're potentially prepared.
Yeah.
But
that's good parenting. Saying like, I love that you're this way. Other people might not necessarily appreciate it. Then you have to be careful about, like, don't not do it. Just be careful about who you fully share yourself with. This is the world we live in. People suck and are cruel, but never stop being who you are.
yeah. Or just like, hey, love this. Like,
Yeah.
if you do this here, these are things that could happen.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, what can we do to protect you?
And if the kid is comfortable with being like, I don't care if I'm a lightning rod, then you'd be like, all right, I love you. Go do it.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like I think kids deserve to be lauded for their bravery, especially when it comes to self-expression, because self-expression, for the most part, harms nobody. So, yeah.
But I also feel like if you have a kid who's kind of like searching for who they want to be in the world.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think like, even if they're not this like hugely creative, like, you know, just star who you want to like admire in the universe, I also think like, if when they're looking around, they're like, who do I want to be like? If they are picking out weirdos, I also think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like a good sign.
Yes.
So I think if that's what I felt like was going on, I would just be even more thoughtful about making sure they were prepared for the situations that that could bring up for them. If you feel like they're sort of, and what kid isn't kind of like fumbling around trying to see where they fit?
Correct.
I would be even more cautious about being like, hey, super cool. This and this and this is stuff to think about. Just making sure you're like good and have a game plan. But yeah, I don't know. I just love weirdos.
Yeah. I think that it also, we're kind of biased because, I mean, I'm definitely a weirdo and our kids have weirdo tendencies.
Yeah. In lovely ways.
Of course. Well, I mean, we're biased.
Totally. Do you have any favorite weirdos?
Do I have any favorite weirdos?
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. Like, I don't have like one definition. So like I would potentially call Pedro Pascal a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Henry Cavill might have been Superman, but dude built his own PC and obsessively paints Warhammer 40K miniatures.
What I think is so great is I actually think he's a nerd.
Yeah.
Which is just the best. I also love nerds.
Yeah. Like there are so many people that I would think, like Will Wheaton, whom I adore more and more with each passing year. Like like Corey Feldman, total weirdo, totally doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Like harming nobody, basically just coming out against how abusive Hollywood can be, in particular to child actors. Like, where is the harm in any of that? Leave the guy alone.
Yeah. I just sometimes get a bad feeling watching him because I feel like sometimes he's harming himself, and that's hard to see. Not necessarily other people.
But the thing is, he's not necessarily aware. Like, it's not like necessarily always intentional.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
Like he might be harming himself because he's not aware of what he's doing. So that's okay, fine. That's a slightly different circumstance. I get it. But yeah, there are plenty of people I would consider to be weirdos. But again, we live in a wonderful time in which you're not necessarily punished for being a weirdo, right?
Yeah.
We're freaking like name actors get together and play Dungeons and Dragons games for charity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I don't feel quite as weird as I used to because my weirdoism is pretty vanilla compared to some other folks. So.
For sure.
Yeah. So there's some. I could keep going, I suppose, but.
I'm trying to think. Do I have many current ones? Because, like, I mean.
Caitlin Moran.
Yeah. I guess she has her moments. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we both love Of Montreal.
Sure. John Hodgman.
Yeah.
I call John Hodgman a weirdo in the same way that I would call myself a weirdo.
Yeah.
The man likes cheese a lot, more so than most.
Bespoke mayonnaise made that was handed out in a bundle of stuff that I think it was like with one of his records or something, came with bespoke mayonnaise. I think that kind of...
That says everything you need to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this lady is wrong.
Yeah.
Neil is right. And the world continues to turn on its axis.
And sometimes I think all of us can be mean when we don't mean to be, or difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's any part of weirdo that implies being rude or unhelpful or mean as part of the definition.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. We can call it there.
We can keep going.
Oh, man, I can talk about weirdos.
Yeah, we should be good. Yeah.
Till the end of time. But yeah, we need to thank Jonathan Zalbin, who I know from perhaps one of the weirdest points of my life, and First Frame Music for the music for this podcast.
And that wraps up this episode of The Family Skeptical, where nothing is sacred
except for our kids.
Who are weird.
And great.
Pretty much. On most days.
Most days.
Fucking superintendent.
What is his name again? Ryan.
Something vanilla. Walters.
Ryan Walters. That's what I wanted to say, and then it sounded unreal.
To be fair, most of the things that he suggested sounded unreal.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Yes.